All right, here's what I wonder about writers. You know, if you're a writer, there comes a moment in your kind of writing process or career, like the first moment when you finally first put something on paper. I would love to someday hear a book or see the collections of writers' first thing they put on paper, because that's the moment. And it might not be good writing, but it's maybe the purest writing we ever did, because there comes this moment when a writer must put their pencil onto paper. There's some event, something stirring within them that simply can no longer stay inside. Maybe it's that first love that you met that really just kind of messed you up, and all of a sudden you're like writing all this stuff down. Maybe it's the first breakup, right? And you're like, I got to tell that lady something, right? And you're writing it all down. Maybe it's something happening in the world that makes you write. Well, this is the first piece I wrote, and may not be my best writing. But when I think about why I write, it always comes back to this. And this is the first poem I wrote, and I started writing because I was a dad, and I'd become a dad for the first time. And when you become a dad, there's just all this new stuff going on. You never knew what love meant until I became a dad. And so I wrote this first piece for my new son at the time, Casey John Nelson. Casey was born on June 6th of 2006. Put those numbers together. 6, 6, 6, right? I'm the pastor. He's born on 666. Yes. It's only been a couple of nights we thought he was. There's only been a couple of nights we thought he was demon possessed. You know, demon, come out of this boy. This is a poem I wrote for Casey on the night before he was baptized, and so it's called "For Casey on the Day Before He Was Baptized." It's my first piece. You know, titles was something that would come along, but this is that first piece. Son, never settle for just a sprinkle, a few dainty drops of dew at daybreak, a water whose wetness is barely enough to wake you, no. Instead, be immersed. Demand to be dunked, plan to be plunged, surrender to that sweet sinking sensation found only on Easter morning when the packed church sings Amazing Grace with no music and her eyes closed. Son, never settle to skim the surface. Dive deep into the darkness and drown. That's right, drown to the illusion to believe that net worth and self-worth are the same, and drown to the illusion to believe that lions and lambs must forever live on opposite ends of the zoo, and if you pull back the straw in the manger, you'll find stars and stripes, and Ishmael and Isaac will never fully understand the promise of the promised land. And son, may you drown. Drown to the lie to believe that white is right and brown is black, and love can be defined or confined in a straightness that will not eventually be bent towards violence. Tomorrow may you wade in the water with the wounded woodworker who with the turn of the cheek turned the world upon itself, so that we might see that whole water into wine thing, oh, that was just a parlor trick. Because you see, the real magic was turning poverty into power and despair into desire and suffering into salvation, so that when the end of the broken sword was pushed deep enough into Mother Earth, we might see that it might yield carrots and cabbage, beans and beets, lettuce and leeks, pumpers, peppers, potatoes, and peace. So as that preacher pours the prevailing presence, we're going to pray. We're going to pray not just that you drown, but that you rise again, that you emerge from the submerge of your watery grave, a new creation, that you stand at the edge of the infinite abyss with your hands held high above your head, and that you scream as loudly and as freely as your daddy did on that autumn evening when with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth, the ball that left Maglio's bat landed our Tigers on the cusp of an impossible dream, and for that moment, heaven simply bent down and kissed the city of the car. Son, may your throat always choke on a note called hope. May you catch moonbeams and mayonnaise jars that skip stones across nimbus clouds. And may you always see tomorrow through the eyes of a caterpillar who, despite its appearance, never doubts its destiny is to one day fly.